Yo, this is vlog 2. Uh, I've got an interesting effect here. Basically, it uses 2D distance fields. So there's a distance field for this placeholder player. There's a distance field for the front view of a 3D model as a 2D image, right? So it'll lerp between the two distance fields. And then at the end, once it's fully transformed into the 3D model, I swap the image of that front face, that static image of the front face of the 3D model, for a viewport of an actual 3D model in a different scene, or in a what is it called? A sub viewport in Godot, which is basically just a separate scene. And then it starts rendering that. And I can move that around. So it's going to essentially give this illusion that the character transforms into a 3D model and starts moving around in 3D space. Or it starts rotating around in a three-dimensional way, right? And right now it's just a cube, so it's not going to look that interesting. But once it's a 3D model that is, you know, similar to the one in game or some stylized version of the one in game, I think it'll look a lot more interesting. It'll kind of give this trippy, almost multimedia sort of look and feel. Right, so it's kind of hard to tell because the cube is actually unlit. I need to turn this down. The cube is actually unlit, so you can sort of see the perspective on it a little bit, but it's hard to tell. And then it comes into the scene, and it needs to rotate down when it comes into the scene. This scene doesn't have the sub viewport set up, so this is just, well, it does have a sub viewport set up, but it doesn't have the rotation part of the 3D model set up, so it just kind of floats in statically because it's not rotating. I added streaks and points to the rhythm section, and I also renamed HP Energy because I think Energy is just a better name. It's a cooler name for a rhythmy type game. So I'll show that off. You can see it in the top right. The top numbers points. The one under that obviously is streak. It says streak. Hopefully you can read. I'll do that one more time. It's kind of tough without the music. It's harder than I expected it to be, actually. Let me turn it up a little bit. I think also, I don't know. Yeah, it must just be the music. That was better. You know, I've also realized I added a button, like a key press button you can do instead of the left click, and I actually have decided that I prefer that. I'm going to leave in the left click for now, unless it needs to be taken up for some other controls, but I'm starting to feel like that's actually the superior way to play. All right, anyway, that's it for this video, short one. Not a whole lot to show off this week. See you guys next week.